Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Wayne Bradley on Conservatives Cool Talk Radio. Thank you for listening in on our Fix Michigan Monday show. We got some great guests on the show tonight. We're going to talk first tonight about something that I think is very important that we talk about, different ideas, again, kind of thinking outside of the normal box here. We're going to talk about the Michigan fair tax and what we could do and talk more about that law and what we're proposing. So who I have on the show with me tonight is the Michigan volunteer, Roger Buchholtz, and we're going to talk about the Michigan fair tax. Roger, welcome to the show.
Wow, good to be here, Bradley. Mr. Bradley, Wayne.
Everybody calls me WB. How you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing good. I went down to CPAC, and I had heard a little bit about the fair tax, and at that point I got more involved and wanted to know exactly how this could work here in Michigan, and is it something that's possible and is something feasible. And from some of the information I've got, it looks pretty good, and I guess we'll get right into it. Can you explain to people that are listening on the show tonight, first about your organization and give us some information, some ground-level information about the Michigan Fair Tax?
Well, the organization is just all volunteer grassroots group, no paid staff at all, and our sole purpose is to enact the fair tax in Michigan, a Michigan fair tax. And what the Michigan fair, we got about 30,000 members and, I don't know, well over 100,000 supporters out there, but that's not enough to make it happen. So I hope people go to the website, mifairtax.org, mifairtax.org, and do some homework, because it will save our state, save our country. It is huge. It will do more to turn our economy around in Michigan and in the U.S. And to return to us the freedoms that's been lost under the income tax laws than any act that's contemplated or possible. It's a small change that has a huge impact. Basically, what the Michigan Fair Tax is a retail sales tax that will replace the income tax that we all pay. It will replace the current sales tax of 6%, the income tax of 4.35%, and it'll replace the Michigan business tax.
Right.
And what people will say is, "Oh, geez, what do you want to get rid of business taxes for? I mean, those guys ought to be paying more."
Right.
Well, when you think about it, who pays the business tax? We do when we buy those products that are produced by those companies. Whether it's for good or service, those taxes, just like any other cost of doing business, is passed on in the cost of the product. And when competition makes it to where that company can no longer pass those taxes on, the company goes out of business or moves out of the state. And what are we experiencing here? Just that in huge numbers. So we not only pay the tax when we buy the products, the goods and services, but we pay again when we lose our jobs, when those companies that are employing Michigan residents can no longer compete in the world economy because of all the taxes that are embedded in our prices. Our country is the only one in the world, all of our major trading partners, that leaves taxes in the prices of their products when they export. And let's say we produce an automobile in Detroit and we ship that automobile to Europe. Europe adds their value-added tax on top of the price of the auto, and our automobiles have, and a loaf of bread or whatever else, has on average 22% embedded tax in the prices.
Right.
So all the goods and services produced in America has a 22% embedded tax. We ship it overseas, they add another 20% value-added tax on top of it. And so we're operating over there at a 20% competitive disadvantage. When they ship their products here, their value-added tax is returned to that good, to that producer of that good or service.
Right.
And so their products come here without a tax component, and we have the embedded 20% tax, and so we end up with a 20% competitive disadvantage here. So no matter where we're doing business, we're trying to compete with the rest of the world at a 20% disadvantage. How much sense does that make?
Right. And so when you're proposing this Michigan fair tax, and again, when I look at it, it says no income tax for a state, for residents. The balance of that is made up through the sales tax. And what I'm wondering also from a national standpoint is how would that work and correlate with the with federal taxes?
Well, if the federal doesn't have their taxes, it doesn't pass a fair tax before Michigan does, there's a deduction for sales taxes paid in the state on the federal income tax return.
Okay.
So that would prevent that from being a problem for us. But yeah, the sales tax to provide the revenues that were our study was done in 2007 for the 2007 revenue year. It was sufficient to replace 2007 revenues at 9.75%. Now that's more than the 6% we're paying currently, but still less than Chicago and other places that have high sales tax rates. But included in the Michigan fair tax rate we're getting rid of the income tax, the 4.35% income tax. We're getting rid of the 6% sales tax, and we're getting rid of all the embedded taxes in the prices of the things that we're buying that companies are passing on to us.
Right.
It really, what it does, if we say it's revenue neutral, meaning if it raises the same amount of taxes, it's not a huge tax break to us. It's the Michigan public will still be paying the same taxes that they are today. The major difference is that the taxes will be visible. We'll know exactly what our true tax burden is, and they won't be embedded in the prices of Michigan-produced goods and services that cause us to be uncompetitive with the rest of the world. So we will be able to compete very favorably. We will be the most attractive location in the country to locate a business because we don't tax our businesses. We get rid of the lie that businesses pay taxes.
Right.
So it just changes the whole dynamics of what. Think of what would happen today. We have the Michigan Economic Development Commission that will want to give a certain business a tax credit or some tax incentives to come to Michigan to locate their business here.
Right.
Well, they say those work. Well, what do you think would happen if all of a sudden we gave 100% tax break from the state, no state taxes on a business that is permanent, not just a temporary thing, and guaranteed by the Constitution, because this is a constitutional amendment. So business could move here knowing that the legislature is not going to take that tax away the next year because they need the money.
Right.
Tax break. So it would turn our state around on a dime, and it takes something drastic because we have some other undesirables in Michigan. I mean, from a standpoint of where you want to locate a company, do you want to locate where you've got to worry about negotiating with a union and have those kinds of problems from a management standpoint? Or do you want to locate your company in a right-to-work state? Well,
right.
That working against us?
Right.
There's heavy regulation in Michigan. It takes so long to get permits and everything else in Michigan compared to other states that why bother with the hassle here?
Right.
So making us a business tax-free state would help overcome some of those other things until we had the time to revise some of those laws to make ourselves a little more attractive to business.
Right. Who objects most to this way of thinking as far as taxes? I mean, it sounds good. Obviously, there's some more questions, but who would oppose this way of thinking as far as taxes? And how long would it take to implement this from the time they would maybe put this in legislation?
Don't give me two questions at one time now. I might lose where I am.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm pulling your leg. Who would oppose it? You know, quite simply, follow the money. The people that oppose it are people that are feeding at that trough. They're some people that are the lobbyists that are today working with selling or buying tax favors from the legislators.
Right.
So you have our own elected representatives that really don't want the fair tax because there's no tax favors to give away in a sales tax. Everyone is taxed the same, no matter who you are or what you are. When you buy something, you're going to pay a tax on it.
Exactly.
So there's no loophole. There's no loopholes. And so the people that make money out of creating those loopholes and selling those loopholes don't like it. So the legislators and the lobbyists and the other group are the people that don't really want people. They want people to know what their true tax burden is. These are the spenders. These are the, if you will, some of the people in the public employee unions and this sort of thing that really want all the money possible going into the government coffers so that they can demand more money at the negotiating table.
Right.
So
exactly.
that, when you just kind of follow the money like I started out with, Wayne, and you get the drift of what the problem is.
Exactly.
And your other question is, how long did it take to get this implemented? See, I did remember what it was. It's a constitutional amendment, so this could be on the ballot as soon as 2011 if we get the legislature to put it on the ballot.
Okay.
And that is our real mission. Get it on there, and then in 2012 it could be implemented.
Okay.
That's how quick.
And do we have any candidates right now that support? Can you give me a couple candidates to support the Michigan fair tax, maybe that are running or that have come out?
There are a lot of them, and they're all going to be put on our website.
Okay.
It's going to be a very large number, including some gubernatorial candidates. Now, when this was introduced into the legislature in 2008, we had 1/3 of the Michigan House signed on to it as co-sponsors. 1/3. Okay. It was never on the floor. I mean, that was just who signed it before it ever got into the legislature. And there were other people that had it have gotten reported out of committee would have been on it, and there was some pressure from some leadership to not have people of a particular party not to sign on because they were pushing other proposals at the time.
I guess.
And so you had that sort of thing going on. So probably about half of the legislature is for this, but it takes 2/3 to put it on the ballot. 2/3 of both the House and 2/3 of the Senate have to vote to put it on the ballot. So that's what we really want to do, is to get them to do the right thing and give Michiganders an opportunity to vote on this thing.
Okay. Now, as I was reading through the proposal and I was reading through the website, one thing that did catch my eye, and I'll let you explain it. What is exactly the prebate, and what is that meant to do?
Okay, the prebate is there to protect the poor and to make the tax graduated. It's kind of like today on the income tax form, when you're doing your income taxes, you have the personal exemption.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is similar. For every member in the household, there is a prebate, or it's on the current situation, the income tax, you got an exemption. What that does is this exemption under the prebate system untaxes what the taxes, or untaxes the spending up to the level of poverty. So every household, rich and poor, will receive the same prebate check. If, let's say, a family of four, if you earn $1 million a year and spend it all, if you're spending $22,000 a year, you're going to be untaxed on $22,000 a year. That is the prebate. I mean, that is the poverty level for a family of four, and so it's determined by the federal government every year. So that amount is untaxed by the prebate. So every month, at the beginning of the month, there'll be a check or a click into a bank account or onto a bridge card or some means, electronically, if possible, that payment will go out to every head of household in the state of Michigan. It will untax them in advance for expenditures up to the poverty level. Now, what that means to the person spending at the poverty level is they have a zero effective tax rate.
Okay.
What that means to the millionaire is that he'll be paying, instead of 9.75, he'll be paying almost that. He may be paying 9.0 or something, or 9.5. But so you have tax rates.
Everyone would get a check. So every head of household would get some sort of a check. It's considered a prebate, but they would get this every month every family in Michigan, you said head of household in Michigan will get this check? Or
Every legal household will receive a prebate payment monthly to untax spending up to the poverty level for a household of their size.
Okay, I got you. And that essentially means that everyone will get the exact same amount then, essentially, right?
Well, if they have the same number of people in the family, a family of 2 will get less than a family of 8.
Well, I'm saying a family of 8 in, let's say, we're in Michigan, and West Bloomfield is going to get the same amount as a family in 8 in Detroit would get, or Grand Rapids or something. They would get that exact same amount of money on this prebate?
It's not based on income. It's just it's assuming that the family is going to at least be spending at the poverty level and will untax that amount of spending. So they don't have any forms to fill out except once a year. They submit to the state forms saying how many people in that household and Social Security numbers and ID to prove that they really exist and they're living in the household.
Okay, and how would that affect senior citizens, retired people, or anyone on a fixed income?
Well, just like everybody else, they're going to get the prebate. So, and the older people have pretty much accumulated what they want.
Right.
So they really do quite well. Their income will no longer be taxed. Any retirement income that they got coming in or Social Security income, any income that they have coming in will not be taxed. And they will get the prebate that will untax all their spending up to the poverty level for a household of their size. And it really, and some seniors will say, well, geez, I've already paid taxes on this income when I earned it. Now you want to tax me when I spend my money. And my comment is, you're already going to pay a tax when you spend your money on those things.
Right.
First of all, any income that you got yet coming in is going to be taxed. And as you spend your money, you're going to be paying the sales tax on it, and you're going to be paying all the hidden taxes that are embedded into the prices of the things we buy.
Right.
So we're eliminating those. We're eliminating the current sales tax. We're eliminating those hidden taxes and the prices of things they buy, and we're giving them a rebate. But everyone does quite well under the fair tax. When there was a study done on the national proposal that showed that all households do better under the fair tax system than they do under the current system. One interesting thing, again, just looking at the thing standing way back from it, since it's revenue neutral, meaning that it raises the same amount of money as the taxes that it is replacing, the Michigan fair tax ends up helping our standard of living initially by eliminating the compliance cost.
Right.
If you go to what individually, I mean, we have to pay people to do our taxes because the taxes are so doggone complicated we can't do them ourselves. Companies have whole departments of people working to do their taxes, and small businesses usually pay 3 to 5 times the tax in compliance costs. It costs them more to pay their taxes than what they owe. So all those compliance costs should go away. The only people that will have to file a tax return under the fair tax are the retail businesses, and then all they have to say is, these are my retail sales. And then you take 9.75% of that belongs to the government. That's what I collected for them, and I send it on to them.
So it doesn't place any extra real burden on the retail industry then?
Not at all. They're already collecting the tax. All this does is increase the amount from 6 to 9.75.
Okay. Now, something I'm sure a lot of people want to know, and because always with the big corporations and the little guy, do the corporations get a large windfall with the abolition of the corporate tax?
No, the people do, because the corporate doesn't pay any tax. The only people that paid, Alan Greenspan, head of the former chairman of the Federal Reserve Board, gave a lecture to Congress, and he said, quote, "Businesses do not pay taxes, only people pay taxes, because in the end, all business taxes are passed on in the prices of their products, and we, the people, pay those taxes, period." So all we're doing by getting rid of the corporate taxes here, as long as we're getting rid of the individual taxes, is getting rid of the lie that businesses pay taxes. We're
Right.
getting rid of that ruse. I mean, this whole thing, we're going to tax that guy behind the tree instead of you and me. You and me are the only people that pay taxes in the end anyway.
Yeah.
It just, and it's that deception that has been used to continue growth of government, because people think, well, I'm not going to pay that tax, so that's the business is going to pay that tax. But all those hidden taxes in the prices are really very regressive. I mean, they hit the poor harder than they hit the upper income levels, because there's no rebate, there's no graduation in it. It's just we all buy the same thing, and we're all going to pay the same tax on it. So it's really a very regressive sales tax. It's a hidden regressive sales tax, whereas the Michigan Fair tax is a progressive sales tax because of the prebate.
Gotcha. And with there's been talk. Obviously, the president, in his infinite wisdom, has been talking about adding a value-added tax on a national level. How would that affect? He's proposing doing this with a federal income tax. So how would that affect how we would, possibly want to do a fair tax with also a value-added tax? What do you think? What's your opinion on this value-added tax, by the way?
Well, value-added tax, if you just compare taxes, you got a sales tax, a value-added tax, and an income tax. The most damaging to the economy of all taxes is the income tax. Because when you talk to any economist, and studies have been done to look at countries with different tax rates and how they tax their businesses and how they tax income, income is a terrible tax. It's a demotivator. Why should I work so hard if you're going to take it away from me?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. If you're going to reduce the reward for desired behavior, you're going to get less desired behavior. What are the desired behaviors we're talking about? But work, saving, investment, risk-taking, and all those things help everybody. So when you eliminate those things, you eliminate the penalty, the tax penalty for those desired behaviors. It's a good thing. A VAT does that. A VAT is better than, it's similar to a sales tax. The biggest problem with a value-added tax, which is a tax that really taxes business at every step of producing a good or service, which means that it is passed on in the price of the product.
Right.
So that is the reason that Europe and some of the other countries had such huge governments. The governments have just grown out of control because the value-added taxes are hidden from the public. They don't know what they're paying in taxes because it's all included in the price of what they buy. All they do is complain about the high price of things. They don't realize that those are just taxes buried into the price.
Right.
So that is the value-added tax, and it really perpetuates and encourages large government, but it does have the benefit of it can be given back to the producer of a good or service when a product is exported. So when it goes overseas, it can compete on a level playing field with the other with the locally produced goods. Now, the fair tax, on the other hand, a sales tax or a consumption tax, it is a retail sales tax that is taxed at the final point that something is purchased at the retail counter. That means that there are no taxes embedded in the price. And so with a value-added tax, you have a huge amount of bookkeeping for them to determine what the value-added tax is at every step of production, and it's a bookkeeping nightmare for businesses. And for small business who don't have a tax department, it almost makes them impossible to exist. It's just a very, very messy, very high administrative cost type of tax system. Politicians like it because it's easy to pass a tax increase onto the people and the prices of their products by increasing the VAT or the value-added tax. But
right.
it's a bad deal for the public, because they don't know what they're paying in taxes. They can't fight it. They can't vote against it. It just comes to them at a higher price.
So
Go ahead.
Do you think that is it possible that we could get the fair tax in throughout, on a national level? Do you still think that they would try to add a a value-added tax with that, or wouldn't that just raise the price of something even that much higher on a retail level?
I don't think we want to see a value-added tax, whether we got an income tax or the fair tax. The value-added tax is just a big government problem, and it just makes government too big. It's a dishonest way of taxing citizens because they can't see their true tax burden. And how can we fight it if we can't see it? That's the problem. In our representative form of government, we already have the problem. I mean, our founding fathers had to fight taxation without representation. Today we have to fight taxation with misrepresentation. Because of these embedded taxes, we're just misrepresenting what our true tax burden is. So we need to have our tax visible, and that's what the fair tax is. On every sales receipt, you're going to see exactly what you paid in taxes. And if it's too high, you're going to squawk. And if they want to raise it a penny, we're going to squawk. Well, value-added tax, they don't have to hear the squawk, because they can just keep raising them. That's the danger of it.
It sounds like I said, not something just to make government bigger, and that's not helping the people at all. Can you give the website address again so people can check it out and get all the information? If there's anything, first of all, let me tell you, if you want to call in real quick and ask Roger any questions, the call-in number is 347-996-3175. Roger, can you give the website address and give them any information that they can help and maybe become a volunteer or join in the grassroots level?
Sure bet. Well, we're looking for people that want to get involved and want to help save our country and save Michigan, get active and preserve their freedoms. And all you got to do is go to mifairtax.org. That's mifairtax.org. mifairtax.org.
All right.
If you be glad to hear from folks. So you can join right on the internet, and you can just get involved. We need active people that want to help make history. We're making some serious history here.
Sounds good. Well, Roger, I appreciate you coming on the show, especially on the short notice that I gave you yesterday. Like I said, I think it's a very important cause, and people, again, we need to educate people more about it, and that's really what my show is bring different people to the show to give different opinions and how we can, again, fix Michigan. I think we have to really look at all different ways of, like you said, making this state more appealing to bringing businesses in, and this seems like a very good way to do that. Also, obviously, with the right-to-work state, that'd be nice, too. But, hey, this is a great start. Again, I hope we can have you again on the show. And, again, give the website one more time just in case. So everyone, if they didn't hear before, give them the website. And I appreciate you for coming on the show.
My pleasure, Wayne. mifairtax.org. mifairtax.org.
All right. Roger, again, we'll have you on again on the show. I'm sure we're going to have you on again because, again, we need to really raise awareness to this. And so people, if they're confused, and, again, with the media, some of the media might not be giving it the actual opportunity it needs. We need to, again, spread the word on the grassroots level. So I appreciate you coming on the show, and I appreciate your time.
Well, my pleasure. I mean, we'll look forward to it.
All right. You have a good evening, sir.
You too. So long now.
Bye-bye. Excellent. Well, I think that was the first. I want people to really do their research on the Michigan fair tax. I think it is something as a country we need to think about more as far as people bringing home more money. I don't see anyone that would disagree with that notion. So, again, I appreciate Roger for coming on the show, and I believe I have my next guest. He's calling in right now, so I'm going to take his call. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, I am. How you doing, Wayne?
All right. Is this Thomas?
This is Thomas. Yes, it is.
Thank you, sir, for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight. I don't know if you were listening in there, we just had Roger Buchholtz, who's from the Michigan Fair Tax, and we talked about the Michigan Fair Tax and how that could have the positive effects And I appreciate you again for calling in on our Fix Michigan Monday. Can you tell us exactly, give us your name, information, and exactly what you're running for? I've already introduced people on Twitter about you, but give us some background information and tell us exactly who you are.
Well, my name is Thomas Matos, and I'm a Michigan native. I was born in Taos, and I'm the grandson of a Portuguese immigrant who came to America legally and learned how to speak English.
All right.
And I'm a former police officer from Arkansas, and I served in the Army National Guard there as an infantry soldier for a short time until I sustained a severe neck injury and had to get out, And I was a bodyguard, dignitary protection for a private security company in Arkansas, and I have a degree in microcomputer maintenance and repair. I am a Republican, but I am running on with an independent on an independent ticket, which would be the Michigan Taxpayers Party, which is the recognized affiliate of the Constitution Party. And her name is Stacy Mathia, and I met her last year at a tax day tea party last year on April 15th. And we kind of hit it off, and just this past week, she just all of a sudden called me out of the blue. No one expects this call, and she asked me to run with her. And I got to be honest with you, I prayed with her. I prayed about it for a few days, and I guess the Lord just told me, you know what, walk through that door, and we'll see what happens. So here I am.
Exactly. So you didn't really come from a political background. That's not what you aspired to do, and you're stepping up because you felt like you needed to make the help out and make some changes around here, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm an oath keeper, and I'm a member of Michigan Open Carry, and all my life I've trained to protect people and help people out that need help, and I've fought in the dark alleys alone, outgunned and won, and all I want to do is help people and help people live better lives. And I'm a strict constitutionalist, and I have an oath to keep, and that oath did not end when I got my DD-214 from the military.
All right, amen. I understand that. And like you, so have you? When did you officially decide to become the lieutenant governor running mate of Stacy?
A week ago.
A week ago. All right.
A week ago, she called me, and like I say, I took a couple of days and prayed about it, and the Lord said to walk through that door. We'll see what happens. So here I am, and I've got a lot to offer. I do have a background in standing up for people's civil liberties. I approached City Council in Alpena here last December, the beginning of last December, 2009, and I provided them with a petition to remove the unlawful gun ordinances that they had on the books. And the gun ordinances basically said that only a member of the federal government, the state government, or the local government could carry firearm. In other words, they were the only ones with the right to self-defense. And it completely was in violation of the 1990 Michigan's firearms preemption law, which states that no local form of government can regulate firearms, parts of firearms, or ammunition. So, and I'm happy to say that on the 2nd of this month, the city upheld their oath, and they shot down and rescinded that unlawful ordinance. And I'm very happy, and I can tell the people out there that they are one step closer to a safer neighborhood.
I can appreciate that. I really can appreciate that. So have you been on the trail at all with Stacy yet, or where are you planning on going next as far as campaigning? What's on the agenda? I know Stacy, where is she at right now?
She is actually in New York, on her way to D.C. with the National, what do you call that, the Tea Party Express there. Yeah. And she's on her way there, and I'm telling you what, she is working her feet to the bone. And she will be back by the 20th. And when we get back, we are going to kick this thing off. I mean, we're going to go and get this new website up, and we're going to start campaigning around the state. We are going to hit it hard. We're going to take the Constitution to the people and remind them of the Constitution, and to start asking the candidates the hard questions, the tough questions, and demand answers, yeses or nos.
Exactly. I All right. So have you been involved? Have you been involved yourself with any of the Tea Party events?
I attend them when they have them, you know, in the public. Like I said, last year was my first Tea Party event. It was my first Tea Party event here in Alpena. I also went to one over in Traverse City last year, a great big one over there. So I like to get around patriots. That's where I feel friendly and safe at.
I understand that. Are you familiar with this with the Michigan fair tax, and do you think that that's a good idea for us to maybe move into with a fair tax, which is essentially a straight sales tax and not tax your personal income?
Right. Stacy and I are for anything fair, and the key word here, sir, is fair.
Right.
Okay. Now, as the governor, well, it's a voter issue, so it would be completely out of our hands. So, I mean, to say one way or the other, only thing we can do, or Stacy can do, I can't do it, but the only thing Stacy Mathia can do as governor is slash the budget 15%, or the taxes 15% across the board on day one.
Right.
And we have a plan on how to get rid of the Michigan business tax because it's a slave tax on businesses, and it must go. And there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It has to go.
Right.
Oh yeah, that has been like I said. We just talked about that before. That's one of the main reasons that Michigan is so unappealing for new businesses to come here is because, I mean, essentially, besides all the union regulation, you would have another separate tax that you have to pay that you don't have to pay anywhere else in the country. You know, I mean, it's a bad tax.
Oh, absolutely. And where I stand on the issue of taxes is where the Constitution stands, is that a man or a woman who is a United States citizen living and working from within the United States and drawing their paycheck from within the United States is not eligible to be taxed. It's in the Constitution.
Okay. Wow. All right. So I know the patriots that are listening in tonight are enjoying this, and I can't wait to. I hope you guys come down to Detroit, in the Detroit area soon, so we can, like I said, help spread the word. Because again, this is something that patriots and conservatives. This is the message that people are tired of the same stuff, and we're going to be different, think different, to really move this state in the right direction. So. It sounds like you guys are definitely on the right path to that. I really like your Second Amendment rights and your beliefs on that. I can really appreciate that. Is there anything? What do you think the current administration and how they feel on gun rights? They're actually questioning the Second Amendment on that.
Well, our founding fathers would call that tyranny, or the beginnings of it. Okay.
Okay.
And the smoke is first smelled on the Concord bridges and in our harbors by the farmer. And we need to support our farmers. No more of this no meat day.
Right.
Okay? Farming is the oldest profession known to man. Not everybody can farm, but everybody sure depends on a farmer.
Right.
And to disavow and smack in the face of our farmers like that is just so atrocious. It's unimaginable anybody would make a statement like that, And as far as the gun rights, Governor Granholm did hand down when she was Attorney General, she handed down a paper saying that it is not considered brandishing a firearm if it's in a holster. So even she believes in the Second Amendment, okay? She knows what's right and wrong.
Right.
That was an omission right out of her very mouth. And to say anything in contrary is doublespeak.
Well, that's what they tend to do out here, and she's definitely at the top of that. Be part of that double talk list. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah.
At the top of that list. Well, so again, what other events are you looking for on the schedule? Are you guys? You said you got a new website. What's the website address of the campaign?
Right now it's stacymathia2010.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a preliminary site. there's really not a whole lot to it. When she gets back, she's out there working her feet to the bone, trying to raise desperately needed campaign funds. And we really are just now kicking this off. In fact, tomorrow I have to miss. It's unconscionable. I have to miss the Second Amendment March on the East Lawn of the Capitol. I have to miss it. I can't be there. And that's because we're still trying to work to raise funds. Now, Mike Cox is going to be there speaking. There's going to be a Democrat there speaking.
Okay.
And if I was there speaking, sir, I would be the only one. I could almost guarantee I'd be the only one with my iron on my hip speaking.
I bet you. I can guarantee that too. That's probably very true. Have you found that to be so far? Obviously getting to this realm of politics, is that fundraising the biggest challenge? Being involved in this, or what do you consider your biggest challenge so far in this campaign trail?
Well, the biggest challenge, what was the biggest challenge was trying to overcome the apathy. See, there's a fog out there.
Okay.
And it's a battlefield of words and ideals. And the words are coming over the media. Okay? This whole campaign, this whole Tea Party Express that came through Michigan, okay? Right. Stacey Mathia was there at every stop, and she was denied by the Tea Party Express and the people who run that to speak at every single event. Denied, okay? What has happened is that an organization that is supposed to support everything conservative has denied the voice of their own blood.
Right.
To the people. And what's more atrocious is that they have plugged the ears to freedom, of the voice of freedom, of the very people that they're asking to vote for. And that's just unconscionable to me. And I hope people can see this. I hope they can wake up to this. Something needs to change. We want to open people's eyes and say, you know what? There has been a coup d'etat. There has been a coup d'etat. Who actually is running the show?
Right.
And, and it's happening. People are starting to wake up, and I've got good reports back from Stacey Mathia on the campaign trail, and the people are really waking up. And she was out with them, working her feet to the bone, God bless her, and people were saying, you know what, we're upset that they wouldn't let you up there. So it's working.
Are you saying that she would go to these events, and they wouldn't let her speak at any of the events at all?
No, sir. Only GOP candidates were allowed to speak. Independent candidates on an independent ticket we're not allowed to speak. Now, you would expect that from a Democrat.
Right.
Okay? No Democrat's allowed to speak because this is, contrary to what the Democrat policy is. Well, good Lord, people. She's an independent. She's a strict constitutionalist. Why was her mouth taped shut? I don't understand it. It's crazy.
Well, people at the grassroots level have to keep pushing because, again, once it becomes bigger than that, again, Republicans and Democrats are trying to marginalize it and take the party. Even with the Tea Parties, they're trying to make it to their political gain, and that sounds like what that's all about when you tell me the only Republicans were allowed to speak at those Tea Parties, which surprises me a lot because I know that's not the spirit of the Tea Party. They're
right.
not looking for a party person. They're looking for the person that, again, follows the Constitution and is listening to the people and not just playing party politics.
Right, exactly. And I want all your listeners to know that I do not despise any Republican candidate. I really don't. I don't, because we are all countrymen.
Right.
Okay? We all come from the same blood, and we all work and live and survive under the same constitutional rules. We are all brothers and sisters under that document. And the thing about it is like I said before, it's a war of ideals, okay? And what people need to understand and what these voters need to understand, and God love them all, is that they have a gubernatorial candidate out there who was shunned at every place, and she followed through all the way to Washington, D.C., and she did not give up when the times got tough. And the people should also know that they've got a lieutenant governor who was trained to be surrounded by the enemy and survive. We will not give up this fight.
Yes. I can appreciate that. What's your home life like right now? You give us a little personal life. How's it with the campaigning? You got a family and that sort of thing. How's that been?
Oh, well, first of all, I got the best marriage in the world. Married to a lovely woman for 16 years now. I have 4 beautiful children. And as far as campaigning, it's like when I was a police officer. Really, the last thing you want to do is bring your work home,
Right.
so that your family, hears about it and sees about it and everything else. You really don't want to bring your work home to your family, and it's tough to do sometimes. But I kind of try to separate myself from my family when I'm doing the political arena, and I want my family to be a family and to live a good family life without having to be thrown into the political arena, because I would never bring anybody else's family into the political arena. I think that's just a sorry thing to do.
I understand. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show tonight. I hope we can strategize and have you come on the show again. And when Stacy gets back, she can come on and let us know how the Tea Party Express, how the whole tour went. Give us some updates, and like I said, try to set you guys up with some dates to come down here. And again, have your forum, because I think it's important again that we that you get candidates out here that are not career politicians. And I can't stress that enough. That's been the most encouraging thing that I've seen from the Tea Parties and from the grassroots levels, that you have a lot of people getting involved now, normal people, and not people that are getting in this for fame and for power and all the wrong reasons. You know what I mean?
Amen, brother. Amen.
So I really do appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the contribution that you've made already to your country, obviously, and that, like you said, that oath did not stop. So I appreciate you coming on the show. Look forward to having you come on again. Give the website address one more time so people can check that out.
Yes, sir. It's Stacy Mathia, Mathia, or Stacy Mathia, what she calls herself, Mathia, at it's StacyMathia2010.com, and please go there and donate. We need your help. We really need your help. And if you can make it to Alpena on the 15th at 5 p.m. at Culligan Plaza, I'll be addressing the Tea Party there. There's supposed to be about like 500 people there. So come on up to Alpena and join me on the 15th.
All right. I'll do my best. I appreciate you for, again, coming on the show. And, again, we're going to get an update on how the Tea Party went. We're going to, again, hopefully we'll have both you and Stacy come back on the show, and we'll do our best to, like I said, spread the word, and so people will know exactly about your campaign, because I believe in people who follow the Constitution and doing things the right way.
Hello, brother. Long live the Republic.
There you go. Amen. Thanks a lot. God bless you.
God bless you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Right. I want to thank both of my guests for tonight for coming on what I would consider short notice. Roger, thanks again for coming on and explaining the fair tax. And Thomas, thank you again for coming on the show. You and Stacy are inspirations to people like myself. Like I said, I like to see candidates and people getting involved that really want to get involved to make a difference, to make changes in our state, in our country. These are the kind of people we need, because, again, we've seen what career politicians are doing. A lot of them, to me, are only interested in making business bigger. So I, again, appreciate the call. Let me take this call here. Caller, you're on the air. I think that was calling by mistake there. I want to thank everyone that's listening. Give me a call if you have any questions. I've got some more of the answers here about the Michigan fair tax right in front of me, so I got another few minutes here left on the show. Next week's show, I'm going to have Wendy Lynn Day, who is a big Tea Party organizer here in the state of Michigan. She's such a patriot. She's done a great job of organizing and bringing people together here in Michigan. So next week's show, I'm really excited about that. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to have a lot of great different candidates and people who are trying to make a difference in fixing Michigan. I've got some big guests coming up. I won't let them all out the bag. I'm waiting to get confirmations on some other people coming on, but I'm trying to bring the best guests and the best leaders in the area who can officially tell us how we can fix Michigan. I'm waiting on confirmations again from the Senator Mike Bishop. We had some communication issues on the last show, so hopefully we can have him on there. I got a call here. Take this call. Caller, you're on the air. Caller, you're on the air. I think that caller's having technical difficulties on the phone there, but again, I think that with the candidates that we have out here, that we need to really promote the ones that are looking out for the people of Michigan, looking out for our country, and again, these are the kind of people that we want on the show. Again, I'm waiting for confirmations for the Senator Mike Bishop, and also hoping to very soon get on the show the Attorney General, who's also running for governor. So I'm working on bringing these people to the show. They have very tight and busy schedules, and me being one of the smaller media outlets is a challenge, but I appreciate everyone that comes on the show. Again, the call-in number is 347-996-3175. Give me a call if you have any questions about the Michigan Fair Tax, and again, any suggestions on what you think we can do to make Michigan better. I've made it clear before, I think we need to really look at possibly making Michigan a right-to-work state. We need to think outside the box. We need to think about the Michigan Fair Tax. The only people that are benefiting from these large tax scale plans are our government, and we're not in this to make government bigger. The value-added tax that the president is proposing right now, again, is nothing more than a way to make government bigger and more control, and to, again, put more into the coffers of the people that have shown that they will recklessly spend our money. So I look forward to this Friday. I'll be at an event with the Michigan Republic Hispanic Association, meet and greet with Congressman Pete Hoekstra, who's also running for governor. So I look forward to meeting with him. Today is Mike Bouchard. I want to say happy birthday to Mike Bouchard, who's also running for governor. This is his birthday today, so I'm looking forward to him coming on the show real soon. Happy birthday, sir. We got some great candidates running for governor here this time around, and it's going to be that'll be the biggest challenge, is trying to decide who's going to actually be the best Republican candidate for governor. So I'm hoping that we'll have all the candidates on the show soon. We've reached out, and again, like I said, I'll be meeting with Pete Hoekstra this week on Friday. Maybe I'll get his interview while I'm at this meet and greet, so I can load up for next week's Michigan Monday, Fix Michigan Monday also, like I said, with Wendy Day. So I want to thank all my guests that have come on the show, who take the time out of their busy schedules to come on here and talk with me about how we can fix Michigan. Last week's show, we had the Secretary of State, Terry Lynn Land, on, who gave a great interview, and she's the running mate of Michael Bouchard. So again, there's some great candidates and some great leaders out there with the Republican Party and also with the independents that are looking to help fix Michigan, and I want to help get the message out there. So if you're listening and you have any questions or calls, give me a call, 347-996-3175. I'm going to be logging out soon. I'm going to be doing a Ustream broadcast maybe later in the week, and I might actually even do the show Friday live at the meet and greet with Pete Hoekstra. So we'll keep you updated on that. If you get a chance, go check out the website, conservativeiscool.com. I've been doing some polling on there. I'm going to just go to that poll real quick. I did a poll about the best candidate for the GOP in 2012 for presidency, and sometimes I guess that's because it's a national issue. I put that poll out there. I really think the GOP would be smart to concentrate on 2010 and don't get ahead of yourself for 2012. But there are some good candidates, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the poll results in a second here. Make sure you. All right. The polling question was, who is the best GOP candidate for 2012? The choices were Mitt Romney, Newt Gingrich, Tim Pawlenty, Sarah Palin, Mike Pence, and Ron Paul. And I also had a vote for other. And as of right now, Mitt Romney is at 24%. He's the leader in the poll. Mike Pence, who has risen up this poll over the last couple of days, he's at number 2 at 17%. And Sarah Palin is number 3 at 16%. And from there, Ron Paul is at 11% at number 4. That's pretty close to what was been going on in the CPAC polls, and also at the Southern Republican Leadership Conference. Mitt Romney is placed first, with Ron Paul placing second at CPAC. And I believe that he placed second at the Southern Republican Leadership Conference. Ron Paul has a very big following, almost cult-like when he comes to these events, so people really support him. Again, when you start talking about on a national scale of who could possibly beat Obama, I think that from an experience and from a recognition standpoint, Mitt Romney, obviously he has the recognition, but he's going to have issues himself, I suppose, with the health care issue. But Mitt Romney, possibly Palin ticket, or Mike Pence. I wouldn't mind seeing Mike Pence as if not the GOP candidate himself, as possibly the VP candidate. I think he's a strong conservative. I met him down at CPAC, and I'm working on hopefully having him on the show soon on our Tuesday national show. But some great candidates out there, and I think that right now, because of the way things are, that is going to be a big determining factor on who's going to get the nod, who exactly what conservative voters the base is going to look at as someone that not only someone that can win, because I think that those principles is what's got the GOP in the situation they're in, strictly thinking about winning and not sticking to principles or the concepts that have made difference Republicans and Democrats, and in particular conservatives. So I think that this time around that the party is going to pick people based on principle, and it might not be someone that someone's expecting, because again they're tired of the status quo. But I think personally that it would be I think Mitt Romney would present definitely a challenge to what's going on. And again, picking the right running mate in this scenario is going to be key. I think that there's going to need to be some balance on both sides of that ticket, as far as appealing to independent voters as well as your GOP, your base. And I look forward to that. It's going to be interesting. Again, that's just a poll that I have out there, and that I post on my website, conservativescool.com. And it's open to all voters. Again, feel free to go on there and check out everything else we got going on. We got comic reviews on there. We do a lot of different things on the website, different blogs and different topics. So if you get a chance, go to the website, conservativescool.com. Register, become a blogger, and also that way we can keep you updated on what's going on the website. Different places that I'm going to keep you up to date on the people that I'm meeting. They believe are looking out for the people of the state of Michigan, and also looking out for our country as a whole. So again, I appreciate everybody that's listening in tonight on the show. I don't believe we're going on tomorrow night. Again, we're probably going on Wednesday night. I apologize to the people down in Pennsylvania that wanted to get on the show. We didn't do a national show last week. There was some protesting going on down at the college, and I was not able to get them on the show. I apologize. We just didn't have a show last week because of scheduling. I have been in school myself for the last couple of weeks, trying to improve myself. So that is why I haven't been doing a show 2 nights a week. So when we get back to May, we'll be going on a full schedule. Got some big people coming on, and I look forward to that. Thank you again for listening to Fix Michigan Mondays. This is your host, Wayne Bradley. Good night, and God bless.